business.
The
circle business.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Amway now. You're not trying to... This isn't one of those meetings. Okay, go on.
Okay, so if you see by the way, or even not, but about every, 5 or 6 weeks, so circle, big circle in the dojo with them facing each other crossways. It's awesome. The kids, they love it. Especially if you start moving them in a little bit and out. That's exciting.
Yeah.
But they do love that. So if you're on your own as and you want to bring a little bit of variety into your class, that a big circle, like a large number of students, all the two lines facing each other, is a great way to take a little bit of pressure off yourself and teaching. I just find that, I don't know. And
Absolutely.
I'm not very often, but
a lot of classes, I don't know about across the board here, a lot of classes are more or less 1 hour classes, and then there's a whole bunch of 1.5 hour classes as well. So, in 1 hour classes, you can't get through the whole thing sometimes. But what you need to be doing is, especially if you've got a regular group, just mixing it up a little bit. 1 week you may not have a chance to go through kicks, but you may do stuff related to, you might do some kicking, but not the full, the full range. So the next lesson you do more kicks and less something else. But whatever you do, if you're always explaining to your class, what I try to do as well, for example, today I may have mentioned, we can't do everything, but this one thing that we can pick up on in the morning, this is going to be something that will help all of your karate. Because it's general movement, whether it's hip rotation or whatever it might be. Does that make sense? So when you're always talking with principles in mind, students will appreciate that. We may not do every technique tonight, but whatever we're doing will help every technique. It will improve every technique. Does that make sense? Like you can get really good at one kata, like really, really good. You can spend 3 years just practicing one kata. But if you're very, very good at it, I guarantee you can pick up every other kata very quickly and just as good at every other kata. Because what you've done in those 3 years with that one kata is you learned how to use your body effectively. Speed, power, strength, technique, movement. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, cool. With the kick shields as well. That's another thing, right? I know we did a little bit in the afternoon. I hadn't realised, unless I've totally forgotten, I hadn't realised that we hadn't done any group training like that at the camp for a couple of years. Using kick shields and explaining what you could be doing with them in class. All I know is that the instructors who use the kick shields a lot have got a whole bunch of happy students. Right? So please make sure you include that more often than not. Okay? I know there are a lot of people that just tell their students that every 2nd and 4th week you bring the kick shields in. It's just almost, it's regimented. And then, they may use them, they may not sometimes if they just, but when they're there in the dojo, then, you know what I mean, you see them and you think, let's use the kick shields. But then when they're at home or in the car, okay, out of sight, out of mind, we forget. Okay? Does that make sense? How much fun is it for you guys when you're kicking into kick shields? I mean, do you enjoy that? Do you believe it helps you with your training, with your technical stuff? Does it make it feel like, yes, I'm kicking into something? We didn't do any kneeing into kick shields today, but of course you can use them for kneeing as well. Use them just to really lay into them, get those knees happening. Does it make sense? Yep. So that's important as well. So who needs to use kick shields more? Who wants to, needs to? Okay, terrific. All right, very good. Any questions on that as well?
No, I'm kick shields.
Something else?
So one of the things that we quite often do is have little competitions where you have 2 kick shields if you've only got a limited number, have a line of them and have them racing through it, so you get a bit of a competition going. That really gets them really excited about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
You were talking earlier about some of the classes in your regions have a theme night, and other classes hear about that, and then lots of people rocking up to that one dojo.
Okay.
Do they? You were saying that before we went to it.
No.
Anyway, so on those.
But let's pretend I would.
Okay, so on those theme nights, do they still go through the curriculum first and then go on to say the guys, or do they just?
You know what? I don't know. But I would assume if there's a theme night,
Yes.
you haven't got time to go through all the curriculum and then spend 5 minutes on a theme night.
Right.
I think your theme night would be a theme night. Like if it's, you know what I mean? Like you're talking about a particular kata or a particular self-defense theme night or something. If it's kind of promoted for that, I think it's just warm up and let's just do this.
So it's something we'd have to discuss with our regional manager before we just went out and did it.
Look, to a point, and yeah, well, obviously it would be nice to. It'd be nice to get their feedback on it, just to make sure they know what's going on. And it also depends on how out there you want it to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's been some interesting theme nights, karate, parties and all sorts of things.
Right.
Go on with, glow stick parties and.
Since I've made my diet.
Okay, cool. Yes.
I was thinking of the principle, what gets measured gets done. If we had things along the lines of, and take note of what Sharon said about some of the older instructors, these ingrained patterns of doing basics and katas.
Yeah.
If we were to put a measurement process in for things like application of, bunkai, either basics or kata, I was thinking that, maybe that sort of thing could happen in, say, the instructor training program, so instead of, say, a level 1, because we've been there for a year, level 1 being, we can now demonstrate, we can show this, as a principle, to help ourselves get more on going that way.
Look, that's a good point. What we probably need to be doing is teaching that as part of the STP, so that instructors come out of their training, instructor training, and they're about to be, most instructors that come out of STP should be starting to teach white belts. That's where you sort of, you cut your teeth and you get involved. And so I guess it's probably something for us to remember or to implement into STP to say this is part of the training that you learn.
Right,
Yeah, so that's a good idea, yeah.
And Shihan, while we're still talking about that, maybe I didn't quite fully explain myself as well, because I think Hayden made a good point. But I also think we actually know so much more than our students, and we just have to trust that we do know those things, and to have a little bit of courage to try them, only 1 or 2 a night, as you was talking about, because we do know more than them. And what's the worst that happens if you get it all wrong? I mean, hopefully you're not sending them out to get it wrong on their friends, but it's self-defense. So hopefully they're not being attacked every week to get it wrong.
Absolutely.
But we'll only get better if we're actually prepared to give ourselves, have faith in ourselves that we can do it. We do know more than our students.
Of course.
That's why we're instructors and they're students.
Hey, you know what? More than half of what I teach you is wrong, but you don't even know it.
Hey, Sensei.
I guess I'm just in the room to think about it, because it's probably the thing everyone's frightened to admit they might not be comfortable or feeling good enough about it, and that's why it's not happening, because we're doing what we know and what we're taught in STP, so that's actually a valid point.
Absolutely, and that's why, and I got that from what you were saying, because it is a very common thing, and although one person said it, probably 80% of the room.
People were nodding their head. I can see you all from back here.
You've got to nod without nodding. Nodding your mind. Yeah, and that's why I'm not suggesting, hey, as of next month, I want you to start teaching all the applications from all the kata, because that's not what I'm saying. We can learn the basic applications. Some, enough. Okay? And you know what? Quite often it starts with you asking yourself, you may say, look, you know what? I might just tell you now, I don't know when I'm going to send out information, or me or whoever. But what you can do is you can go and go, right, there's 5 basic blocks. What else could I use them for? And write down some stuff. Yeah? And check with your instructor. Sensei, there's this. Yeah, good idea. Plus you can use this and this as well. Terrific. I've got 5 or 6 things now for this one block. Does it make sense? Is it everything that could be? No, but it's also a lot more than what it is now. Right? Does it make sense? So, and some of the basic principles. What would be the basic principles we're teaching white belts? in terms of how we, what we're doing with that karate. We did some today. What were they? You can tell. Sorry? Push, pull. Terrific. There's one. What else?
Elbows in.
Elbows in. Guard up.
Fill the gap. Fill the gap.
Okay, yep, fill in the gap. Hips and stance. Hips. Hips and stance. So there's some stuff there. Do you know what I mean? There's some stuff there. So, even just this push-pull thing, it's like equal and opposite. So you're learning how to you're learning how to do a punch, but there's also a lot more that this could be. For example, you could be doing this. Someone grabs you, that. And you've got to do it together. And then you can maybe move into a stance as you do it. And get some balance. And your hips are off this way, but then you can bring them in when you punch. It's just a bit of theory you're teaching them, right? You're not teaching them everything about it, but you're starting to put a picture together for them. Because if they have a vision of what they're doing, they can visualize what they're learning, it'll give them instant motivation to want to come back and keep doing better at it. And what I totally believe in is that when you show someone something and they get excited by it, and then they say, but Sensei, you're so good at it, amazing students over there are great, I'm not very good at this. How do I get better? Oh, I'm just a white belt. I've got to keep coming back. Bingo, sunshine. That's why I think you can be a black belt. You've got the right attitude. Does that make sense? Okay. So we need to inspire our students. Inspire them with, with the why. Put purpose and meaning into our technique. Up front. Right, up front. Yeah? Make sense? Not in the end. Not like the Karate Kid, where Mr. Miyagi had him painting the fence until he got so peed off and was going to run out. Lucky it's the movie, and he had to come back, and Mr. Miyagi had to explain to him, block this. Oh wow, oh my God, I'm so good at this. In 3 weeks. You gave him a free car, but he didn't know that. That was the opposite way around. I mean, does it make sense? Most students don't get vocally frustrated with us. They don't ring you up and say, Sensei, I like you and all, but if you don't start teaching me what I'm doing at karate, I'm going to quit. They don't do that. They just don't come back. Does it make sense? They don't ring us up and say, hey, I've got a complaint. I'm going to a karate club, but I'm not learning anything. If they did, at least I can go, oh, okay, that's interesting. How can I help? That would be the next natural question. How can I help? Give us some feedback. If people don't give feedback, they just go. Yeah? So that's the thing. I believe that, 10 people start, at least 9, 10 of them should be going to yellow belt in 12 weeks' time. I mean, why not? Right? Why not? And I want that to be our thinking now. Versus, it's okay if 7 quit. It's not okay. It's not okay. They're not learning. You don't learn nothing when you quit. Right? They made a commitment to join and learn something. We made a bigger commitment to teach them. So I think that's why I'm saying let's take responsibility for that. And let's do it better. I'm not saying you do it better. I'm saying I do it better. If I can do it better, and then, the top guys can do it better, then we can teach you guys to do it better as well. It starts from us. I'm going to start from you guys. So, I'd never come to you and say, you're not doing a good job teaching what you don't know. Right? Starts with me. Starts with us. Does that make sense? Question was over here somewhere. Yes?
Yes, there's nothing wrong with saying to your students, what would you like to learn in this class? Quite often they'll tell you.
Of course.
I've done it with my students and they've said, I really want to learn this, this and this and this. So you just write it in your class plan. Quite easy to write it in.
Absolutely. In fact, there's a form that some people use, and I don't know if you guys use it as well. All it is just, student comes to your dojo, give me your name, details, and give me your goals. Tell me why you started. Tell me why you started. I know you told the consultant why you started, but tell me. I'm your instructor. Let me know what your goals are. And here's my first goal for you. Yellow belt. 3 to 4 months, you'll be a yellow belt. And by the way, 6 lessons in, we don't like hearing people say things like, well, I didn't give him his yellow tip because he didn't know first kata yet. You would be surprised how many people say that. Or the basics weren't quite good. What, you mean he wasn't black belt quality yet? It's an encouragement award. It's something you say, hey champ, well done. You're doing something that's so foreign, right? You're moving your arms and legs in ways that you probably didn't even know were possible. Just 6 lessons ago, just 6 hours ago, 6 hours or 9 hours of karate training ago, you had no idea. The fact that you're here See, this is what, when someone says to me, what do they need to know to get a yellow tip? You know what I say? Nothing. Have they turned up 6 times? Yes, they have. Then they've earned it. Like just being here 6 goes means you got a yellow tip. Yeah? We've even had people, you know, not recently, but there's every now and then you hear about people that that don't get sent to yellow belt because they don't know enough. Yellow belt is still just, it's first grade. It's nothing. I mean, it's important to them. It's important to you when you're a yellow belt, of course. But as instructors, let's not place such a massive pressure on people to grade to yellow belt. It's just their first grading. It's just the first rung on the ladder. Does that make sense?
Right.
What do you need to know? Just some basics, just a little bit of something. Yeah? More than anything, the early grades are there to give people confidence. Right? Belief. Self-belief. In the old days, there was no yellow belt, or orange belt, or green belt. It was just you train, and one day, you have a black belt. Before that, there wasn't even a black belt. Does that make sense? And then there was black, and then there was green and brown and black, and then there's like, let's fill them all up, because, you know, we live in the West, and we need instant gratification. Every 5 minutes, we need a pat on the back and a lollipop. Okay? That's what, but I'm not saying let's do that now, but I'm saying, let's not be so hell-bent on, you know what I mean? And at gradings, here's what I teach, what I want to tell people. Gradings are, we look for reasons to pass you. We don't look for reasons to fail you. Does that make sense? Right. Not especially with our black belt gradings. I'll talk to all of our senior guys. Okay? Our goal is to look for reasons to pass our people. Because if we fail someone, it means we failed them. It means we failed them. They should have been better. That's me taking responsibility. Does it make sense? Right. Yeah? So, and it comes back to the first thing I said today. And that is, more than anything else, we want to teach people to develop a greater self-worth. That's right. If there's one thing you can learn, if there's one thing you can pick up from training, is not just to be more confident, but to, you know, learn to treat yourself better. Learn to put more value on yourself. And that's what you need to learn from the dojo. That's why even days like today, weekends like this, and every single one of your classes should be about, you know, giving people an environment, a space where they can come, they can train, they can laugh, they can enjoy themselves, they can learn something, but no one is going to judge them. You do something really bad, so what? Just keep going. Right? Does it make sense?
Right.
We try to not, you know, it's not about judging ourselves or others. And we teach people that they shouldn't judge themselves by not judging them. We lead by example. Instructor, sensei. What does sensei mean? Teacher, one who has gone before. Alright, so let's do that. Let's be more like that. I know I try to, I know we try to when we teach the seminars. Yeah? I know we have some fun in it, but I also know we push ourselves, we encourage ourselves to, you know, use more mental strength. When our body's starting to, you know, want to give up, we give ourselves strategies and ideas and concepts to go, you know, think about this. Does that make sense?
Right.
Think about, you know, this. It's the end of the fight. This is not the time to slow down. This is time to pick up. You know? You train with your mind, you use your body. Yeah? So you control your body. It does not control you. This is where the mental strength and the fortitude that we gain from training, this is when it counts. Right? This is when it counts. Does that make sense?
Right.
But all along, no negative self-talk. You can only talk yourself up. You know what I mean?
Right.
How many times in the dojo, not today obviously, today was different, right? Before today, how many times in the dojo have you said bad things about yourself? I can't do this, I can't do that. You know, I'm not good enough. I could never do what he does. Gee, I suck, oh, my stance is poor, and this and that. You do it? Yes? Have you done it?
Right.
Yeah, okay, no more. Just teach yourself, no more. The dojo is the only place on the planet where, and of course it should spill out of the dojo, but here is the groundwork. This is the epicenter of your positive universe. This is where you're not judged, you don't judge yourself, You don't talk down on yourself. You can only talk yourself up, and you're building your self-worth as a human being. You do that well enough, and it's going to spill out to outside of the dojo. Right? Outside. Does that make sense? This is the best, the biggest benefit of karate training. Everything else can come and go, but this is the killer. This is the one. Does it make sense? This is how you learn to empower yourself. Yeah? Does it mean we're going to be perfect? Hell no. No one's perfect. But we can become the best version of ourselves if we allow ourselves, if we give ourselves permission, and we give ourselves, that self-worth we deserve. Does that make sense? So, and then we teach that to others. So teach this, go to your dojos and say the same thing. Yeah? This is a safe place. This is where you can make mistakes and no one cares. We'll fix them. We'll help you. We'll correct you. You'll help correct yourself, etc., etc., etc. How does that sound? Yeah? Cool. Any questions? Any feedback? Any thoughts? Any jokes?
Just thinking about the thing you're talking about, the yellow tips. Think about it. We've just done the entire length of the yellow tips life with karate today.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, it's like, and we expect them to be able to karate.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yes. Any ideas that you guys have? Any? I'd love to get, feedback as well. Obviously, I know.
Are there any other tools that we use? Like we use a punch bag or kick bags. We have mitts and pads for imitating. Are there any other things that we use or can use for karate?
Look, apart from that and ninja stars, evasion. Nunchuck, yeah. Look, the only other thing I can think of that some people use is they're taking focus mitts and pads, like mitts, like what do you call it, bag mitts, like boxing gloves but thin.
Yeah.
And they can do some training. We haven't got into that, but I know there's some high grades. I've seen high grades practice with them, and it's useful. But I'm not sort of suggesting we go out there and tell everyone go and get focus mitts and stuff at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
I've got some of those, but I've never really thought about using them.
If you use them for palm heel strikes, of course, yeah. Somebody had their hand up just there in the middle here. Right there. You had your hand up?
Oh no, I just said I use noodles. I cut them in half and they use them as baseball bats.
Of course, noodles, absolutely.
And to correct strikes,
For
for German
kids.
UK.
Yeah.
They love that.
I do that at home, but with broomsticks. Hey, the flip out of vlog. No, but noodles are awesome. Yeah, noodles.
We also have some rubber knives and guns. I mean, they're great for kids because they bounce on the floor, but it's just so that they hit each other with the guns. They don't shoot.
Rubber knives and guns. We're just bringing your Nerf guns, Paper? Paper? 1, 2, 3 paper? Balloons? Dots on gigs?
Or just paint.
Eggs. Oh, eggs! Yeah.
Or just getting him to balance a lolly on the knee while they're doing their focus.
If they can do it, if it doesn't fall, they can keep it. They're going to stay like this for the whole lesson. Okay, you getting some ideas just quickly? I don't know if these are. Have we shared these anywhere? I'm sure we have.
Some of it's in the kids' manual, the game
Kids, yeah, the activity manual. Yeah. Maybe you know what's a good idea, and this is coming from me. A couple of years ago, because we're putting all of our, the red manual, the instructor manual, onto the website as a PDF, and I wanted to make sure for the new website, the newest website, Instructor's one, I wanted to make sure it was all pretty current. I started reading through it. I'm like, oh my God, there's some good stuff in here. I'm thinking, hang on, this is some really good stuff. This is all the stuff that, you know, we sometimes thought we should do. It's actually already in here. So maybe what I suggest is have a flick through it. And if you don't have an actual copy, it's on the website. All the manuals are on the website. Okay? So have a look through it, because you might be surprised how many ideas you'll get from that. Yeah, with your classes, immediately, yes.
Something that every class has a whole lot of are belts. They're really good for training. You can do height training, you can do backwards and forwards training, you can help encourage them to show them what their stance length should be roughly like as well.
Absolutely.
Things like that. Small markers that you can put down on the ground for, you know, where the kata should, you know, go and what directions, that sort of stuff.
I haven't done it for a little while, but I used to do a lot of, you know, just wrapping the belt around and just giving a bit of resistance as they kick, and then take the belt away and watch how fast they kick, or fall, one of the two. Depends on who does it. Okay, good idea. Any other?
One of the ones that we've done is just a piece of string with a knot, which is 1 shoulder width wide and 2 shoulder widths long. We sort of lay it out in right angle. That's your dimensions.
Okay. Setting up dimensions on the floor, yeah?
Or take it on the floor.
Take, yeah.
When you come back from a round, it lands there.
Cool. Yep, it's good. It's good. All right. That might be it. I don't know if there's anything else that anyone else would like to mention, talk about.
Maybe one thing that's quite useful tool in your dojo is you've got a lot of high grades next to the lower grades. Instead of having all your high grades down one end and your low grades down the other end, one might stick all of your high grades down the front and make your students train behind them or face them and have a little competition then. And then do a little bit of partner work where your high grades matched up with the lower grade and they can give them some instant feedback. And even though the high grade may not be getting that really technical feedback from the lower grade, standing out in front of students and doing things, teaching is learning, as we all know, right? So not something every week, but you know, once in a while that spice your dojo up and it sort of sharpens the minds of the high grades a little bit too.
Yeah. Good idea.
I've actually just remind you of a little story, a situation I once saw. I was training in Sensei Peter's class, and I was just watching, and Sensei Peter has a few fingers missing on his right hand of it. And so his kata, for example, had a few digits missing. And I watched down the front and there was this young kid, and that's what his kata yuki looked like. It's amazing how much they do actually pick up and
That's good, yes.
Recently we had, during holidays, there weren't very many students, but I had adults and then 2 little kids. And they were little wee white belts, so they were 5-year-olds. So I thought, okay, I'll work the adult, getting them to do a Nigerian kicks, and we worked through the basics of a good Nigerian kick first. So I got one little child sit in the front, one little child behind, and I said, you're the spotters. You're going to tell me if he gets this right. You know what to do now. So, because we all did it as a group, and then they had to sit fore and aft. The kids were great. They said, oh, he didn't pull his toes back. He didn't have a straight leg. And they spotted so many things, and the adult was getting really quite frustrated.
It hasn't been that since.
But the kids are bright. They'll pick it up before we do.
That's awesome for the kids, yeah. You can go out and get rid of that one. Okay, cool. Yes?
Another good thing when you got real young kids, like 5-year-old kids, everyone's got a float in their bag, in their kit, right? Put 10-cent coin in each fist, in each hand. Make them keep their fist shut.
Because they always seem punch like this. Yeah, they put a coin in it and they keep it in. And they go, oh, can we keep it? No, you can't keep it. No, you can't hold on to it. Yeah, it's another thing of keeping their posture.
Yes.
Another interesting exercise to do is to organise for a visiting sensei, but before they get there, get all your students to put their belts away and just line up randomly, and then the sensei, tell them the sensei's going to pick what grade you are by the end of the class. And it's quite interesting to see which students pick up their game because they want to be a higher grade. They've seen by somebody else.
We should do that for the instructor class.
That's fantastic. So tomorrow morning on it's a surprise grading day. No, that's very good. Good idea. All right. So any other thoughts on just the training concept we're talking about? The idea of maybe getting our mind around giving our students, our beginner students, more of what they need to feel they're getting, or almost to the point where it's kind of promising, like by the time you're a yellow belt, you're going to learn how to get at it, single hand grabs, double hand grabs, you're going to, arm, throw, choke, whatever. These are things that we can almost say, these are the criteria that we need to teach you as some basic self-defense. And it's not all done with techniques that aren't in our curriculum, it's all part of what we do. That makes it even more special, I guess, yeah? Does that make sense?
I would only say that we really need to keep reinforcing this in our senior classes whenever we get them, because often we talk about things like this, which is really, really great, but then it does seem to drift out after some months.
Yeah. I totally agree. And this is where I think we've all got to take that responsibility on board. Senior guys, talking to you as well, yeah? Keep it on board. This is what you need to practice in dojos with senior classes. And it's got to be a bit of a collective mindset that our goal is to, create a really exciting experience, like training experience for beginners. And that will carry through. So let's just not focus on beginners, forget about the high grades. There's going to be other things that we need to be focusing on for high grades. Extra classes for, high grade katas and workshops and whatever else you may need to be doing. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And look, quite often, sometimes we just need to be reminded as well. Right? So if you feel like, your sensei may not be covering a certain thing, just like you might be asking of your students, what would you like to go through? All right? Sometimes it's, hey sensei, can we go through some of this? We haven't been through it a while. Or you might be doing it from a teaching perspective. I'd love to be able to go through these types of techniques. Can we do some of them in class this week? Does it make sense? I'm pretty certain that if you ask things like that of your instructors, they'll do it. They'll help out and make sure it happens. Okay? And our job is to pass on more strategies and more ideas, more concepts, more planning as well. But a lot of the stuff we're talking about can be very basic, can be very, very structured, very simply, just even by yourself to begin with. Just open your mind. You know more than you think you know. Does that make sense? You know more than you think you know. You certainly know more than the students that you teach. Okay? So just challenge yourself with that as well. Does that make sense? Okay. 8:37. Meeting finishes at 8:38. So, any last thoughts? Any last words? Too late. No, you still got a few seconds.
So, Sensei, you were saying about us asking our instructors, why not encourage our students to ask us?
Absolutely. Like, what was your name, sorry?
Sensei Henny?
Sensei
Henny?
Henny. Henny.
Henny, yeah.
Henny.
Yeah. Henny.
Henny. Okay. Yeah. It's yeah. Thank you. Enjoy your night. 8:38, 9 o'clock. What happens at 9 o'clock?
Go to bed.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your night. See you in the morning. 9 o'clock training session, yeah? Okay. Unless it's a training session here a bit later, like 8, 9 o'clock.